Hi, I'm Patrick Bruggeman, and I'm doing challenge number 2 for video. And um, the person I chose to interview, his name's Alex Talib. I've known him for about 8 years or more. We both attended Chaminade Julian Catholic High School, but he currently studies at Miami University as a senior. His sports background is football and baseball, and the reason I chose Alex was because I felt he was my closest friend of a different race, and I grew up with him playing youth sports for many years, and we've always had a pretty close relationship since the day we met. And I thought he'd be perfect um, person to interview for this challenge. At my high school, 41% of the students are of race other than Caucasian, and I found that on my high school website. 79% of the school receives financial assistance with tuition, and 97% of the graduates pursue higher education. I thought that was pretty interesting. I mean, for as a race standpoint in my high school, for Alex, youth sports seemed to be where race and sport influenced him the most at a very young age. Being from North Dayton, there's a very high population of African Americans, and playing football growing up, you never really saw a problem with race because Caucasians were the minority in the sport of football in Dayton, Ohio. And baseball was pretty much the hardest thing he went through with sports, and it started at a very young age from different parents and coaches in the youth league that he was part of. Um, a very cool stat I found out from the U.S. Census in 2010 that 43% of Dayton's population is African American and 23% live below the poverty line. I thought that was pretty important because in North Dayton, that's one of the poorest parts of the city, and that's where we can find a lot of racial problems with sport, especially with baseball. In Alex Talib's middle school days playing football, I mean, I remember him talking about that in high school. Just he always seemed to have a problem with race. Like we would joke around about it with him, and we never really thought about what we were saying to him. And I never really thought it hurt his feelings because he would always laugh with us. But it really did jump out at me that even though I knew all this stuff, but it actually really bothered him when he was talking about it. And I didn't realize that race was a big problem for him at such a young age, especially baseball. Um, he was always, even in high school, the only African American on the team. I remember stories of him that he would talk about on his travel team for baseball when he was in middle school. He would always talk about the parents didn't want their sons to room with him on travel trips. I just thought that's just crazy. Like that just jumped out at me. And hearing his story about his own baseball coach of that travel team blaming Alex for his teammate that was in the hotel room with him being too drunk and smoking and being too high, and the coach told him or asked him, "What did you give him? What did you do to him?" Like just blaming him right off the bat. I thought that's just crazy for me to hear that from him. He never told me that in high school, but when he told me that over the phone, it just jumped out at me. Um, High school was definitely the hardest time for Alex. I firsthand saw it all, a lot of it. He was constantly being stereotyped from our friends and people of different high schools, like all through our rival high school, which is all white baseball team. And according to Alex, he always says African Americans in baseball are viewed as fast, strong, and natural athletes. But Alex wasn't that. He was never the fastest kid. He always had to work harder than everyone else. He always stayed late in the gym to work on technique and hitting and throwing and running and sprints, etc. He was always getting dealt with race through other teams saying something and always pointing it out to him on the field. Just people with dumb comments. It's so sad seeing it and watching him go through it. I found some connections to the Fab Five documentary. I thought it was really weird how it pretty much goes hand in hand that the Michigan alumni during the Fab Five era, seeing five black African American starters on one team and see them changing the game of basketball with black socks, the longer shorts, the attitude and swagger in basketball, the cockiness, and then seeing how much that irritated the Michigan alumni, and then seeing parents who attended Chaminade High School, that was all boys high school before it uh, collided with Julian High School and became Chaminade Julian. But those parents really did not like seeing an African American on our baseball team, and that just hurt. Like my best friend, his dad didn't like seeing African Americans on our baseball team and thought it ruined our reputation for our high school and our baseball team. Another really cool connection that I found was in the Race, Sport, and the American Dream, written by Earl Smith. He talked about how it's very hard for African Americans to advance in coaching or becoming a school administrator or just advancing besides being in the player itself. I pulled up some stats from high school, and seeing Alex leading the team in batting average in all the major categories and statistics, and then seeing him not get recruited by other Division One, Division Two, Division Three schools or community colleges, and watching players that didn't have that good of stats and weren't as athletically gifted as Alex was receive scholarships. I just thought maybe just because baseball is viewed as a Caucasian majority sport and Dominican and other Latino or Latin heritages sport, majority sport, I think many coaches stayed away from recruiting African Americans. I mean, we see it today. There's not many that play Division One baseball. And then another thing I found from Earl Smith was he said that much of the administrators in schools are Caucasian, making racism in schools institutional in school sports. I definitely agree with that because many Caucasian people fear they want to be connected with other Caucasians and not see their kids grow up with African Americans or seeing their jobs maybe get lost or etc. I just thought that related to race and diversity with Alex's situation and growing up. Um, in my career, I think it sums up what I have in the PowerPoint, but everybody's different, and no matter, regardless of their race, but I will never, ever change the institutional racism and favoritism in my place of work. I will always view everyone as equal and never let someone's color of the skin affect my decision on how I judge a person. And I think that since I want to become a football coach one day, other than just go into communication, the field of communication, just seeing that, I realized how much it affected Alex in high school, and I never thought about my actions or what I said to him at the time. I mean, it really hurts me now to see it can still bother him, and I just wish me and my friends could have thought about what we said to him before we could have changed our wording or not said it at all, and wish we could have backed him up with parents that said racial comments to him. It just really hurts me now that I didn't stand up for him back in high school or in middle school, because he actually went through a lot, but he was strong and didn't show his emotions that much back then. He just laughed with us and went along with it. I just think I could have done a lot better job at being his friend and helping him out. These are the questions I asked in the interview, and I think I got a lot out of this challenge in interviewing Alex, and I think that it relates a lot to what we learned in the modules for this challenge, and I think overall it's a great experience.